something that, hey, we got this back. Hey, that's a start. Thank you, guys. All right, someone is coming back to unplug something else. Do you guys have sound? There you go. Now you do. Is
This
yours
one's
on?
coming?
Good. Yep. Is yours on?
This one's coming?
Yes.
Yeah.
There.
Oh.
We're back a minute.
Well,
Thank
sorry,
you, gentlemen.
that's all the time we have.
Get out.
All right, before we blow this any further, raise your hand if you have any questions. I'm going to come right to you and just talk over the obnoxious music.
So in the show, how long did your drummers have to practice to do that dueling drummer rendition?
I'm not sure how long it took them to work that out, but before they came on tour, they had gotten together a few times to put that arrangement together. Because as you could tell, that wasn't just fly by night, let's see what we can do. Hey, let's just go up there and wail. They worked it out and over a number of days, I think, put the arrangement together. So it's a whole percussion arrangement. Yes?
I read that you're going to be touring with Earth, Wind, and Fire over the summer.
Yes.
Any chance you're coming to Sedona?
I don't think we're coming to Sedona, but I think we are in Arizona, probably Phoenix.
Yeah, you're in Phoenix in August.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in Phoenix in
but
August.
it'll be
with
on
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
ChicagoTheBand.com website. You find out all the dates from where we will be.
Before I ask my question, I just wanted to thank you for a 2-hour treat.
Thank you very much. All right.
But my question is, as a musician performing a live or a semi-live concert, what's the first thing that goes through your mind when technology is unpredictable and sometimes fails you?
It is always unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen next. And that's the beauty of a live performance. It's like the tightrope walking. And, you know, most of the time we have a net, but as you can tell, sometimes there's no net. You're going, you know, you try to roll just before you hit. Yeah.
2 curiosity questions.
Yeah.
What Vegas venue was this done at?
The Venetian.
Venetian.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is going to be an odd question, and I apologize because I think you guys are great. The question is, how many shoots did you have to take? How many sessions did you have to shoot to get the movie?
We shot that over mostly 3 shows in Las Vegas, and then there was probably 2 or 3 other shows where we got pickup shots. So probably 6 or 7 shows.
The initial show was for our 55th anniversary documentary, and we were just going to put some extra music into the documentary music, just for live performances. And then while Peter was there, he said, "Why don't I just shoot the whole show? Because eventually we'll be able to use it." So
here
as
we
you
are.
can see, we changed a couple members of the band, and we even changed that up by shooting another show, and we're playing the same music, so it works. Thank you.
I have a question. Are all your concerts 2 hours long, or was it just 2 hours long for the movie? And then, the connection with the crowd. Can you kind of describe how that may feel to the band?
The crowd is great. I mean, the way the show is put together sort of leads the crowd to getting up and coming back down again, and then up in waves. And that's the way you try to build the show anyway, so that by the time you hit the crescendo at the end of the show, the speakers don't go off. It just gets higher and higher.
Okay, this is actually a question for the 3 of you. One of the things that I do back in Minneapolis is I have guys in my studio to watch concert films. And one of our favorites actually is Stop Making Sense. We love this. This is going to be awesome. We get a chance to play this in the studio. But I was curious, each one of you must have a favorite concert film. And also for the director, if you were inspired for some of the visual stuff, which I think perhaps you were, from other concert films?
Yeah, I mean, the two of my favorites are probably Last Waltz and Stop Making Sense. It's the cinematographer's here too, Josh Helms, who we basically shot this with like 3 cameras. We had 3 cameras for those 7 shows, and it's like fly by the seat of your pants type stuff where we have to deal with clothing changes and making it a cohesive thing. But these guys play the same show every night in a good way. Like they're providing the same exact show for every audience, no matter where they are. So it was easy for me in that way.
And at the same time, it's usually a little bit different from one night to the next. Just the venue by itself, the audience reaction, a lot of things change during the night, or from night to night, even though the show is basically the same. And I mean, we have enough songs where we can keep playing one hit after another. I mean, you guys have made enough of our songs hits where we can play 2.5 hours and not do any filler. We don't have to do a blues ever.
This question is for Tim. Tim, what's the hardest part of the post-production of your music, and what's the easiest part?
All of it.
Yeah, there really is no easy part. It's craft work. It takes a lot of time and loving attention to every instrument, every note. Everything is automated. We go to the nth degree to polish these things up. Referring back to the previous question, one of my favorite concert videos sonically is anything live from Steely Dan. And of course, Roger Nichols, their former engineer and mixer, set a real high bar. And so I always am trying to reach those highest bars in terms of definition and quality and being able to hear everything. And it seemed like it was a live show. You guys were great.
Yeah.
Thank you for participating and getting your phones out.
Before the sound gremlins interrupted you, you were telling us about how you came to build your sound studio in Sedona. Could you finish the story, please?
That's right. I moved here in 2010 with my family, and we had just come off the road, and I was asked to go mix a TV show that we had just done with the Doobie Brothers, and they wanted me to come to LA to mix it. I went, I just got home. Isn't there a studio in Sedona? So the answer was it was difficult to find a studio. And as it turns out, a fellow named Mike Latanzi had a house here in Sedona, and he had just put a board into the studio, and Tim happened to be there. So the first day I walked in, I met Tim, and we started mixing the show with the Doobie Brothers, and Tim and I have had a relationship, a working relationship since then. And Tim has built every studio that we have used. We had one in a garage a few blocks away, and then we had like 3 or 4 different studios before we actually found the house and put in a permanent studio with a sound mixing board and everything. So it was quite the experience, quite the building experience.
Up here in the back row center.
Hi. First of all, I want you to know I thought it was absolutely wonderful. What?
Thank you.
Okay, like Madonna. It was wonderful being able to be that behind the band, in the band,
Right.
around the band. That was absolutely a wonderful mix. My question is, I'm sorry I'm not all that familiar with, we've listened to Chicago since the 70s, but I don't know how you got together. I mean, it was almost like a couple of you were in high school together. How did you get together? Was it you finding each other, or did you have an agent doing all of that?
We did not have an agent. We just found each other. It was that's the way bands were put together back in the 60s. You just met some guys that had same type of, like of playing music, and you got together and see if anything was going to work. If you had fun, you play a few gigs. If that worked, you moved on from there. And we found. We found a bunch of guys that wanted to keep going. So 57 years later, 3 of the original 6 guys are still with the band. So that's a testament.
No question here. I'm here in the back. No question. But I just want you to know I've worked with a lot of musicians in my life, and you're one of the most giving people that's reached the heights of any musician I know. I really appreciate what you've done for the world with your music. Thank you.
Thank you.
Raise your hand. I'm coming back down from the balcony. And wait 1 second. I'll come back up the other side of the balcony. Just a minute.
Well, seems like everyone's taking my questions, and he just took my gratitude. But I first heard you in a very young age, and I'm not so young anymore, and I want to thank you for all the joy you've given. And I learned how to play my first 2 hands on As Time Goes By. My piano teacher wouldn't let me go outside until I finished it. And I also want to thank you for thinking of us and all that you do, the entire band, behind the scenes. I saw you in Prescott. We saw you at Prescott last year, and all the times I've seen the band, many, it's always about us. It's like this united front, and I want to thank you for also allowing us to take video and pictures of you.
Oh, yeah.
Because
a lot of venues try to keep people from taking pictures. And
I wanted to acknowledge that you love us as much as we love you.
No, thank you. All right. Without you guys, we don't have a career.
This is on, Pat. Hello?
Yes.
Hi.
Can you, I don't know if my voice will.
It's carrying.
I'm probably one of the oldest persons here.
I don't know. I don't know if you're older than me.
Oh, yes. I'm 82.
I'll never catch up to you then.
But what I'm trying to get at, I like a range of music. Some of my favorites, I just love Neil Diamond, Hot August Nights 2, Elton John, and so on. This is the first Chicago concert I've attended. Yeah. And I have to say from my heart, I've never experienced anything like this. This is superb.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
But down, and you know, I'm an old teacher, professor type, and I try to overanalyze things.
Oh, we always overanalyze. Oh.
There's a certain intangibility of your performance that defies too much analysis. How aware are you of that by people who are not experts in music?
What was that a question? Am I bothered?
I don't know. One last point. It's an honor for my wife and myself to live less than a mile away from you. In Sedona, we got a second place in 2009.
All right. I'll practice softly.
Lee, I don't know if this was the question or not, but I'm going to kind of paraphrase because it's one that you answered so beautifully when you were at our theater with your last film, which we'll talk about in a little while. The 3 core members, original members, there's a lot of members that come in and out over the years that play with you. Talk about the challenges and how that works in learning new material with new players on a new thing. Well, that was a different band than played here 8 years ago, for example.
Correct.
Some of them.
Yeah,
so
some of them were different.
How does that all work?
Well, first of all, they've listened, like you guys, they were fans as well before they joined the band. And when we asked them to be in the band, they were excited about it. And we start them right out on a show. I mean, it's very seldom that we have rehearsals. We don't like rehearsing very much. So I send them the music so they can learn what to be doing by the time they get on the stage with us. And then we just start counting off the songs. And when that putting someone on the spot like that, you put up right away. And you can tell immediately if someone's going to make the grade or not. And, these guys are really great musicians. So we've been so fortunate just meeting the original band members that wanted to do the same thing I wanted to do for this long. It's unbelievable. Without saying, oh, no, I'm tired of this. I got to move over here. I got to do that. I mean, you can see that after such a long career, things change and people get ill. They can't work anymore. They can't be on the road. And we have, because of this music and our need to keep performing, and we love to come out and perform. The hardest part has always been the travel and always will be. But it's great to have met as many great musicians in my life that I have, and had this type of music come through them. So, I mean, it carries a 2.5-hour show. We could play even longer, but I don't think the show would keep building beyond this, what we've done already.
Actually, it's not a question, it's a statement. I don't think I would have made it into your music group because I got kicked out of guitar class, got kicked out of piano class, and got kicked out of chorus because I think I was so enthusiastic, I was throwing everybody off. So they would ask me to go out and play. Choose a friend and go out to play. However, what I did develop was a great enthusiasm for music. So I have appreciated your music for a very, very long time. Right. I really thank you for the entertainment and the inspiration you have provided and all of those loving moments. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Peter, while I'm running to the next question, can you tell us about the challenges of shooting this? I know we talked and someone did address it a little bit. The challenges of shooting a concert film that looks cohesive, even though you're shooting it over multiple concerts, and multiple clothing changes.
It really just comes down to, same way that he was just talking about musicians coming into the group and having to learn the intricacies of the music. It's catching camera people up to what's going on with 10 different guys on stage. It takes a couple shows to kind of get into the groove so people actually know what to aim the camera at. I've been with them for 13 years, 14 years almost, and so I know every little moment of what's happening. And I guess my most difficult thing, kind of like right now, is explaining to people what to do beforehand because there's just so much going on. But once you get all that footage together, it's just about just going through it and making sure that every shot cuts to the next. That's really what it comes down to. Yeah.
On another note, Peter has another movie that's going to be showing at the festival called Man Goes on Rant, and it's about a filmmaker.
True.
And the filmmaker is living through the pandemic, and during the pandemic, as we all did, try to figure out what the hell we're going to do with our lives because we can't even go outside. How are we going to keep going here? We need peanut butter every once in a while. So, but he gets an idea of, I'm not saying that the character is Peter, but he is a filmmaker as well, and he gets an idea to go back to 9/11 and chronicle what happened to America from the next 20 years, 9/11 to the end of the pandemic. Yeah. And within that time, his personal life falls apart as well. So it's a pretty interesting, introspective movie to go watch. I recommend it highly.
That's the best that movie's ever been described to anybody. Thank God I didn't have to tell you what it was about.
Peter, you totally need to have him rewrite your synopsis, because that is not what you sent me. That's really cool.
Please come to the movie anyways.
So, I'm going to head into this wonderful gentleman here, but since you brought up the movie, Lee, tell us about you contributed some music to it, I believe, and are an executive producer.
Yes, well, Peter actually wrote the basic music for it, knew exactly what he wanted, and then we just came in and put live instruments to what he had already written, and then added something beyond some of the spots that we felt needed a little more music. Basically.
Lee, I just want to say thank you and to all of you gentlemen for an absolutely fabulous movie. I was in college radio 55 years ago. Yeah. I just want to say, how do you do it? You sound exactly the same as you did. And those of us, I mean, really, it's amazing how you're able to do that these 57 years. God bless you and thank you.
Thank you. Practice. That's it. Stop practicing, you don't get better.
I should mention that those original songs and mixes are in my DNA. Right. So when I'm mixing these things, I'm making them sound like they did back then.
Yeah.
Lee, I
Yes.
just want to say that I grew up in Chicago. You were one of my first rock concerts. I saw you, I think it was 71 or 72 at Ravinia.
Yeah.
It was a bright sunny day and there was a huge downpour. We brought army ponchos and stayed for the whole concert and it was fantastic.
I know, it's always amazed me that people stay through
I will
driving
never forget.
rain.
Yes, but anyway, we stayed and watched the concert through the pouring rain with our army ponchos and it's a fond memory. So
That's
thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that I've seen Chicago since 1972, when I was actually, unbeknownst to me, my future wife was at the concert as well at the University of Missouri in Columbia. And we didn't meet then, but after that we've always had a great appreciation for Chicago. And you guys sounded fantastic, because I've heard you probably 6 to 8 times over the various course of my 72 years. And I just wanted to ask, my question is, how did you find your reincarnation of Peter Cetera? Because I've heard the leads over several musical changes with people singing his lead. Right. And this guy is the best you've had.
Yeah.
Neil Donnell.
So. His name is Neil Donnell, and he is a Canadian. And he played and sang with many different groups that emulated other bands. And so his voice is like a chameleon. He can change his range and tone to fit whatever he needs to do. He's been in the music business for like 40 years, and he has done probably 300 ads in Canada that we don't hear here. But he does the entire thing. He does the voices up here, and then he sings the song, and then he does the spoken word, and he's a one-stop shop, sort of like our band. You know, we have never hired another horn section to come in and help us. We write the song, write the horns, play the horns, write the background vocals, sing the background vocals, leads, everything. One-stop shop. That's us. And it's always been that way.
Well, like everybody, I loved the show very much. The guitar lead-in to 25 or 624 is, for probably every person who's tried to play guitar successfully or not, learned those notes. And so when I was watching it, I was wanting to see the guitar strings and frets being moved during that, and I longed for it.
We'll have to see it again then, right?
We need to go out and reshoot it.
We have time for one final question, and the guys will be out in the lobby for sure, right over here.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Lee, I can see you're my kind of musician, an emotional musician, and I want to maybe see if you would give us a cute Terry Kath story. Could you?
A Terry Kath story?
Yeah. Is that no?
What do you mean?
A key Terry Kath story.
A key Terry...
Terry Kath story.
My memory of him is that he was always playing the guitar. I mean, he and I roomed together when we were staying in Holiday Inns, and we didn't have enough money to do separate rooms, so we'd have two guys in each room. And initially we had a room that people slept in and a party room. That was it. 2 Holiday Inn rooms. That was it. Obviously we stayed up all night. We were, too stupid to go to bed. But and we somehow made it through every show too. So you never know how to do that. But when Terry and I started rooming together, he would always play his guitar, so. I just watched him and learned the positions and learned the guitar from watching Terry play. I'm nowhere, I can't go out and play a gig on guitar by any means, but I could write a couple tunes, I can play a little piano, so I play the trumpet basically, but Terry Kath was always the musician, always working at his craft, never happy with what he had accomplished, always wanted more.
That's beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so first of all, if you haven't, did you see Now More Than Ever, the film we had when they performed here? Check out Now More Than Ever. It's the most beautiful tribute to Terry it was beautiful, and there's a lot of emotion from all of the band members. So Now More Than Ever, that was from 8 years ago. We premiered it here, I think, too. We're kind of cool that way.
Is it on Netflix now? It's on Netflix?
It's like on Amazon Prime, Tubi. If you just search it up, Now More Than Ever, The History of Chicago, it'll come right up.
And if you get a chance, they just last year released, and we had it here as well, at our Mary Fisher Theater, The Last Band on Stage. And it's absolutely unbelievable. Yes. It's unbelievable because the premise is they were told right when the pandemic hit, they were performing at the Venetian in Vegas, right? I think it was Peter Chivarelli, your manager, came and said, boys, that was our last gig. The world is shutting down. They were the last band to perform live before COVID shut everything down. And you follow the band for 2 years on what happens when you take guys who have been performing together for 55 years and their livelihood is taken away. And it's fascinating. Sedona's in the movie a lot because they talk about the sound studio. There's a lot of things that are shot here. And it's fascinating to watch their creative process as they're zooming together to create new music. So go check that out as well. Where can they find that?
Just Google it. It comes up. It's free somewhere.
Yeah, it's and 2 incredible movies, also both by Peter Pardini. And yes, give him a round of applause. Very much.
Thank you.
And also that movie, The Last Band on Stage, was to chronicle that we lasted beyond 50 years. We went to 55 years, and we weren't going to stop anytime soon. So we were going beyond 55, and now that was 55 years, the 2002, and now we're at 2004, 57 years. we're starting our 58th year right now. So,
and in fact, the finale of that movie is 25 or 6 to 4. This from this concert.
Yes. We have often said
without the sound issues.
We've often said we've been looking to find another 25 or 6 to 4, and we have not found one. That's the only one there is, and we end the show every night with it.
And I want to give one more shout out about the generosity of the band. I've, of course, got all these guys on speed dial on my phone since 2016. And their manager, Peter Chivarelli, is very, very kind to us. And every year when we have our gala at the Enchantment Resort to raise money for our film festival, I send one little text to Peter and call him and say, will you donate us some VIP tickets to your concerts? And he says, how many do you want? And he lets me have as many as we want, because they love the Sedona Film Festival so much and their history with us. So I want to thank the band, thank Peter, thank you, because I know we've got this because of Lee.
Thank you, guys.
You all are going on, you bought the package. You're going next week. Venetian Resort. That's right. Thank you all so much. Happy birthday to the lovely lady who just said this is the best birthday present you ever could have. Thank you all for putting up with the sound shit show. We appreciate you. Make sure you vote. Chicago Live.